Hi Team Boarders. Okay, for today's video, we're going to quickly go through three different types of our methods of collecting data. And as it says here, we're going to we are learning how to display data in different ways. So we're going to take the question, what is your favorite sandwich? Okay. The first thing that you want to do whenever you're collecting data is you want to make a tally chart of whatever it is that you're asking. So in this case, we're asking, our category is sandwiches, and we've listed the different um, sandwiches that you have. And we just have an example that's already made where you've collected your tally marks for every person that you've asked. And you also write down the total in the end for the amount of people that chose that selection. Okay, and we know about tally marks. We understand that once you make 4 and put a slash across, that makes 5 because it's easier to count in the sense of 5, 10, 15, so on and so forth. Okay, so what do you do with that data after you've made your tally chart? Let's go to the next page. You can make one graph that we're going to discuss is actually a bar graph. Okay, your bar graph has several components, so follow along with me. And for the instance of this video, this bar graph has already been filled out. The first important part of a bar graph that I want you to understand is the axis. Those are the two lines. One line goes vertically, which is the y-axis. Okay, the other line goes horizontally or across. Oh, made a mistake. And this is your x-axis. Okay. Other components, your data, any graph or data that you collect, you always want to give it a title. Our title here is our favorite sandwiches, and your accesses, you want to give those a title as well. So at the bottom, your different categories, you have cheese, cucumber, egg, ham, peanut butter, honey, jam, and salad. You want to go ahead and make sure you tell the reader or the person interpreting or analyzing this data that these are your types of sandwiches. So you want to have a title at the bottom, and on your scale, which is your scale is the numbers going up, you want to give that a title as well. Okay, so that's your number of people. All right, so your number of people, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and you typically would like to use your scale, or you want to base your scale off the highest amount of people that you've surveyed. So in this case, we may have surveyed no more than 6 people, so we only raised it to 6. You can also make your scale, which again is going up here with your numbers. It can go by 1s, 2s, 5s, 10s, or even hundreds if you've spoken with that many people. Okay, so remember this about a bar graph. Again, a bar graph is used to show data. Bar graphs can also be displayed sideways. You shouldn't be fooled by the change. A bar graph's main purpose is to compare amounts, okay? So here we have, again, a bar graph that's in your typical way. You have your scale here, you have your categories here, and your bars here, okay? And your titles in each location. Here we have a horizontal or sideways bar graph. It's the same information, just presented differently. Instead of your scale being over here are your increments, you have your titles of your categories, and your scale is at the bottom, and you also have a key, and you have your titles here. Okay, you also have what's called a line graph. A line graph is used to show change over time. You can also use a line graph to look for trends and make predictions. Okay, a line graph, again, a line graph with dots or other marks shows a frequency or how many times they've occurred. Let's just say you dug, I had a big bowl of M&Ms in my hand, or in a bowl, I'm sorry, and I let everybody walk around and put their hands into the bowl. Let's just say, for instance here, with your scale, let's just say that there were 2 people who picked up 12 M&Ms. That's how you would actually show the frequency or the amount of times 12 M&Ms were grabbed out of the bowl. Let's just say only one person grabbed 11 M&Ms out of the bowl, but 5 people grabbed 15 M&Ms out of the bowl. This is what a line plot shows, okay? Okay, so going back to review what a line plot is as an example. A line plot simply shows the frequency of or the amount of times that something has occurred. So going back to the bowl of M&Ms, if everyone put their hand into the bowl of M&Ms, you would all pull out a different amount of M&Ms. Some may have the same amount though. So let's just say if I wanted to see if someone had 10 M&Ms, we didn't put an X up there, so that meant that no one grabbed 10 M&Ms. One person grabbed 11 M&Ms, two people grabbed 12 M&Ms, okay? So on and so forth. So that's what a line plot is. Okay, so here's another example of a line plot, and I like this example because it's a little more relevant. It actually says click the button to divide the exhibit into rectangles. So it's more so saying go to the exhibit up here and split it into little rectangles like this. So I would make the example of, let's just say I had a bowl of ladybugs, and I asked you guys to dig your hands into the bowl and see how many ladybugs you could pull out. I know that's kind of disgusting, right? But that's the example that I want to use. So as you can see, I've split this into different rectangles, right? Okay. So with that in mind, I'll go ahead and continue to split this up into the other rectangles. But as I was saying, we're pretending that these are different, I don't know, exhibits that kids have, or they were pulling them out of the bowls. So as I do this last one, let's just imagine or envision that we were pulling them all out of bowls, each little section. Here down here we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I want you to take your time in your math journals, create this line plot, and just kind of, based off of what I've split up into the different categories, count the ladybugs and mark each category. Mark how many sections, each section, how many have 8, mark how many have 10 ladybugs, so on and so forth, with an X above that number. And then we'll go from there. That's just how you work with a line plot. Lastly, we're going to learn about a pictograph. A pictograph is actually, to me, one of the simplest graphs. This is a graph that uses pictures to show data, and our symbols, which is a letter or picture used to represent or name numbers and operations, okay? So a pictograph is similar to a bar graph or even a line plot. You actually have your title, which tells you about the information in the chart. You have your labels or different categories. In this case, they're collecting data on flowers in a garden. So you have your tulips and your roses. And then you have your columns that go down. As it says here, a column runs up and down a chart. And then you have your rows, and your rows go across. As it says here, a row runs across or from left to right on a chart. Okay? Now, this is a different pictograph. What do we drink? So the two choices are two categories here. We have milk and juice. So instead of writing numbers or writing X's, making bars, we're actually using pictures or symbols. So of course, milk, you may want to use a milk bottle, or a cow maybe, or something like that. Or for juice, you may use apple juice, an apple, or an orange, something to represent what you're trying to categorize. It says this is a pictograph. Again, it uses symbols to show information. It also says, how can you use the pictograph to find out how much juice and milk the children drank, how much juice did they drink, and how much milk did they drink? Now, these are simple questions, but the whole key to collecting data, the entire key to collecting data, boys and girls, with your bar graph, your line plot, or your pictograph, is interpreting and analyzing data. This is simply where you are answering, or let me start over, where you're asking questions about the data you've collected, and you're analyzing it and thinking about what it actually means. So that's the key words: interpreting and analyzing. Simply means that you're actually thinking about the data that you've collected and what you can actually do with it. Okay? Well, this was the data video for Unit 1. Again, please write down any questions that you may have. Do some other research. Go visit our portal page, or even look at BrainPop if you have some additional questions, and we'll discuss it in class on the next day. But use your journals to ask any questions you may have, so that we can discuss it on the next day. Bye, guys.